And see, on this channel, we hold racist Caucasian people accountable, and also the people who think they Caucasian. Because you guys sit back and think about it. If you 17 years old and you caught a felony charge, fast forward until you 55 years old, every day they remind you a felon. Every day you go on a job interview. Oh, you a felon. You 55, you 50 years old. They gonna remind you of what you did at 17 years old. They don't care if you say, oh, I gave my life to Christ. I changed my life around. The criminal justice system don't want to hear that. The judge don't want to hear that. They don't care. They will never forgive you. So little old me, I decide to keep that same energy when it comes to them. When they give you a mugshot, when they arrest you, when you go to court, they blast it all over social media, all over Facebook, all over Instagram, all over YouTube. So I said, okay, when it comes to their people who do wrong to our people, I do the same thing to them. I expose them on my YouTube channel to show you they not like us, to show you they never for us. And shout out to the black lawyers at Harvard University. They was the only ones that posted Kill Duggins. And to the racist Caucasian people at Harvard who didn't post Kill Duggins, you about to get this work today. So let's get right into this article. This article is from a company named Inside Higher Ed. It was published January 31st, 2025 by Susan H. Greensberg. Shout out to her. Layoffs and a resignation at Harvard's Legacy of Slavery Initiative. And notice how the news hides certain things around Super Bowl time. Notice that. Harvard University last week laid off the staff of the Harvard Slavery Remembrance Program, who were tasked with identifying the direct descendants of those enslaved by Harvard-affiliated administrators, facility, and staff. The work, which was part of the university's $100 million Legacy of Slavery initiative, will now fall entirely to the American Ancestors, a national genealogical nonprofit that Harvard was already partnering with. And see, of course, on this video, I'm going to turn up because this is not a small matter. But I said, let me slow it down some. Let me go down a rabbit hole a little further and let me go on Google and do more research. Check this out. Harvard enslaved people from its founding in 1636 until the end of slavery in Massachusetts in 1783. The university's ties to slavery were extensive, including some enslaved people worked and lived on campus, caring for students, faculty, and presidents. Now, this is the crazy part. Harvard received donations from slaveholders, slave traders, and others who profited from slavery. Harvard professors and their graduates promoted race science and eugenics, which led to discrimination against black people. So from 1636 to 1783, they told us they only owned 900 slaves. That's 147 years. You do the math. But then I said, wait, this is why Kill Duggins said this. Check this out.
You should not be the one with imposter syndrome. The people who had all the privileges and all the power and are sitting next to you, they should have imposter syndrome because you didn't have all the privilege and power that they had, and you're still there. You're still sitting next to them. So what does that say about you? What does that say about them? Period. So I think that you should not have imposter syndrome. You should definitely apply, and you should realize that all of the experiences that you've had are invaluable to being a law student and to being a lawyer, because you're able to empathize with the people who are actually directly affected by the law and able to make more meaningful change than someone who's lived in the clouds their whole life. So I'm actually begging you to apply and begging you to bring your experiences to this field, because we need you.
And she's right. You belong there. They should feel some type of way. You belong there. Your people paved the way. Your people is the reason why Harvard is standing. Literally, our ancestors built Harvard. Our ancestors created their wealth. So you belong at Harvard. Don't let these people say, oh, you don't belong in this school. No, my people built it. My ancestors built it. Go to that damn school. Just when you go there, don't turn on your people. Don't neglect your people, because I don't care how much money you get. I don't care how nice your home is. I don't care how nice your car is. At the end of the day, you are still black, and they will constantly remind you. But let's get back into this article. Protesting the move, Harvard history professor Vincent Brown resigned from the Legacy of Slavery Memorial Project Committee, which was assigned the task of designing a memorial to those enslaved by members of the Harvard community. Brown wrote in his resignation letter, which he shared with IHE, that he had recently returned from a productive research trip to Antigua and Barbuda when he learned that the entire HSRP team had been laid off in sudden telephone calls when an officer in Harvard's Human Resources Department. He called the terminations vindictive as well as wasteful. And shout out to Mr. Brown for standing on business, because we don't want your memorials. We don't want to be reminded that you owned slaves. That's crazy. Because where's the money? Where's the free tuition for these descendants of slaves that you owned? And now we see they finally showing their true colors. They saying things like, yeah, we own your ancestors. What you gonna do about it? And me personally, I say this is a great time. Now we can really be for us. Now we can mind our own business, do our research, and tend to our people. And now they want to go back and erase our history. Cool. They want to, show us that they don't need us. I say, you know what? Let's just match their energy. All we have to do is create things for us. We got the platforms now. They have the platforms. All we have to do is create new things for us, because they want you bowing at their knees, bowing at their feet, begging them. They want you living in fear. They feed off that. Because what's stopping us from creating a virtual Black Wall Street? What's stopping us from doing that? And I feel like now is the time for Black people. Now is the time for us to be more self-reliant. But this is when they get really disrespectful. Check this out. Harvard's Legacy of Slavery initiative has repeatedly come under fire since it has announced in 2022. Critics assailed its lack of progress last year. The two professors who co-chaired the memorial committee resigned last May, citing frustration with the administrators. The executive director of the initiative, Roshana Moore Evans, followed them out the door. Then HSRP founding director Richard Cellini said that Vice Provost Sarah Blake had instructed him not to find too many descendants. And this is Sarah Blake. And of course, they don't want you to find too many descendants, because that 900 they said would turn to 90,000 overnight. That 900 would turn to 100,000 overnight. So of course they don't want you to find too many descendants. And I believe she said that. So even as a Black person, you decide to go to Harvard. I do these videos just to let you know what you will have to deal with. And just like Kia Douglas, don't just go there and, sell out your people. No, don't do that. When you go there, still be about your people. See what you can take and bring back to your people. See what cheat codes they have. See what information they trying to hide from us, and bring it back to your people. Our ancestors built Harvard. They the reason why those people are wealthy. So you have a right to go there. You should go there if you decide to. And you got lawyers like Johnny Cochran, who also graduated from Harvard Law School, and he's from Louisiana. He dedicated his whole career fighting for his people, speaking up for his people, making change for his people, fighting against the criminal justice system. And a matter of fact, he took it further. Check this out. Johnny Cochran filed lawsuits on behalf of victims of police brutality, racial profiling, and civil rights violations. He also filed a lawsuit on behalf of the victims of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. And what they also don't tell you is he was about to sue the government for reparations for Black people. He said in an interview, which I can't play because it has music in it, and it's a short clip. He said 400 years of slavery and free labor was unjust, and Black people deserve reparations. A couple years later, he died from a brain tumor. Ironically. So now we see what Kia Douglas got her inspiration from. And shout out to the Black lawyers that's at Harvard and you for your people. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the future Black lawyers that's going to Harvard Law School. Shout out to y'all. You for your people. Shout out to y'all. We got y'all backs. We can no longer isolate ourselves from y'all. We can no longer shut y'all off from the world, especially when you fighting for your people. And to Harvard, our ancestors built that school, and y'all just threw them away like they was nothing. So we never shutting up, and we gonna keep going to that school. And look, like I always say, as black people, we are far from perfect. But you know what? Times are changing. People are starting to speak up. We are starting to slowly come together. And I love that shit. I'm out.